From Anshe Sfard Beth El Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Va'era, the prayer Nook. What is the importance of praying in a particular place? We look in our Parshat this week, even last week, speak of the idea that the Jewish people said to Paro, albeit perhaps a bit of tongue-in-cheek, or disingenuously, we said to Paro, we said we'd like to go on a 3-day tour in the desert. Why in the desert? Later, Moshe is challenged by Paro. Why don't you pray to your God right here in Egypt? No, I mean, after all, if we try to pray, if we try to offer sacrifices here in Egypt, where the custom is to worship the sheep, perhaps the custom like in India not to slaughter the sheep. If we slaughter the sheep, people will stone us. It's not possible due to persecution, perhaps anti-Semitism of some sort, nascent sort. It's not possible to do certain types of prayers in Egypt. The end of the Parsha, the Makal Barad, the hail, we find that Moshe says, Kitseiti etayir, efoset kapai el Hashem. When I go out of the city, then I'll lift my hands up to God in prayer. Why does he have to go out? Why can't he make prayers when he's in the city? And Rashi says, B'toch hayir lo yispal. No, he will not pray in the city. There's too much chinofas, gilulim. There's too much filth of the idolatry. You don't pray in a place where there's a lot of idolatry. The Midrash Lekach Tov, later collection of Midrash from Italy, says that the reason he had to go out of the city, perhaps outside the city, he had a makom tefillah, he had a base tefillah, maybe he had some kind of a shul outside of the city. We know, of course, the Gemara says in Brachos that kol hakaveh makom l'tfilaso kei Avraham be'ezro, that anyone who prepares for himself a place of prayer, then God will be at his side. The Rabbi Noach and the Gra, Vilna Gaon suggest that the reason you have to affix a place for prayer is because, firstly, Avraham prayed in that place, Armad Sham, the place where he was, as the Gemara says, but also, even according to those who say that that the prayers are instead of sacrifices, or they correspond to the sacrifices had a particular place. They had a particular place where they would slaughter the sacrifice. There is a particular place where they would slaughter them, where they would offer them, just like sacrifices. We pray and we offer them in a special place. So too the prayers need to be done in a particular place. Now the question was, the Trumas Hadeshen, medieval commentator, a little bit before the Shulchan Aruch, he said, well, what if you have a choice? What if you have a choice between praying on the road, where you can't really concentrate, or you could go to a local, you'll stop as a merchant, you'll stop at a local motel, but there are a lot of crosses on the wall, maybe different images of different founders of other faiths who are hanging on the wall in different places. Where would be a better place to pray? So he says, nowadays, Ahidna, we're always living among other people of other faiths, and therefore, what are we supposed to do? That's the way we live today. So if you can find a little corner in your motel, where you could pray, that would be better, so you can concentrate rather than praying out in the field. So while it's important to avoid any sort of relationship with any kind of dualistic sort of religion while you're praying, but still the importance of focus, that's primary. There is a debate among the Balei Tosfos, perhaps within their position, the Rabbeinu Yonah, as to whether you need to have a fixed place in the shul. Let's say you've affixed a place. You daven in the Anshe Sfard Beth El Emeth congregation. That's where you daven. And therefore, that's where you pray, and you have a place. Or do you say, no, even within that place, you can't pray in this corner and that corner. You have to find a place within the synagogue. Why? Why is it important to find a place? Some say because since we believe in one God, it shouldn't, if you pray here and you pray there, it looks like Bilam, who was always looking for a different angle. You should pray in one place. It shows that there's one God, one place. The Beis HaMikdash was originally all in one place, so everyone knew there was one God and not many temples for many gods. Rabbi Yonah says, no, it's a matter of kavanah. If I'm standing in a certain place, start noticing the furniture, the cracks in the floor, the cracks in the ceiling and the wall. But once I'm in a certain place for a certain amount of time, I can begin to focus and not be distracted by the various exigencies of that particular place. Now, the Rabbeinu Manoach has a rabbi from Provence who has a commentary on the Rambam. He says a few things I wanted to share with you as well about the idea of place. He says, let's say there's no one in the shul. Is that still considered a special place? He says, yes, it's still a good place to pray. Now, some say that this idea of affixing a special place is particularly true if you're in your house. If you're in the shul, certainly you're in a good place. If you're at home, you might say that it's just a sort of hodgepodge, it's a helter-skelter in the house. So no, affix a special place that if you're not able to pray with the minyan, as we should, in the shul, as we should, then at least make a place in your house where there is, where you're used to praying, and that will be maybe a place where you study in your house, and that place, prayer and learning, and that will be a good place to pray. Now, the Yerushalmi does say, he points out, you want to pray at home? Great. Now you've got around your prayers, you've got a wall of iron that's surrounding your entire house. In other words, the most propitious place for prayer is synagogue. Most tefillah nishmas, alaveis hakneses. A prayer is most heard in the shul, as the Gemara says. So, although we believe in one God, Moloch haaretz kavodo, the whole world is His place. But nonetheless, the Gemara, the Rambam, Shulchan Aruch do say that it's good to fix a particular place to pray. To have, so to speak, a prayer nook, a particular place in your home, and you end up praying at home, a particular place in the shul. You don't just roam around, sometimes here, you sit with this buddy, that buddy. Try to make a particular place in the shul that you daven. And hopefully this way, we'll have the proper focus. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, when he went to pray for the Egyptians, this plague should go away. He had to pray somewhere else, some place free of the impurities, a place that was set aside for prayer. And hopefully with that, we'll come to have more meaningful prayers. The Ravid in the Sefer HaMaspik L'Ovdei Hashem says that, the Rambam's son in the Sefer HaMaspik L'Ovdei Hashem, he says that all the great prophets, they had special places. For instance, Elisha the prophet, he had a special nook where Isha Shunamit, the particular woman, had set aside a particular attic for him, and he prayed in that attic. That was his special place. Many people in Tanakh, special places where they prayed, and we too need to have that special place where we associate with prayer, and we can sanctify that place, and hopefully get ourselves focused, and hopefully, tefillah nishmas, place, if we have a proper place, our prayers will indeed be heard. Thank you for joining us here at the Anshe Sfar Beth Elameth congregation here in Memphis, Tennessee, for our discussion of Makom Tefillah, the prayer nook. And join us each week for our discussions of the Parsha, and you can see our how-to series as well, about various how-to questions in Judaism. Thank you for joining us.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.